Now, I am here on this day, the year of our Lord, Robin Rihanna Fenty, a living goddess walking amongst us mere mortals, February 7th, a Wednesday of 2024, to cover some information that was learned from Dave Neal's video today, and also to send good vibes, support, and everything Dave's way, because tomorrow he is scheduled to have a court case against Laura Owens, or Laura Owens against him, technically. Now, today, Dave uploaded a video that covered Clayton's interview on a podcast called Unplanned. And I still have not watched it yet, but I will. And if I feel that I have enough to say, then I might record a video. But if you don't see one, don't be surprised. He covered really touching and emotional parts. And I shared this video of Dave's because I haven't seen the full podcast. Not sure if I'm going to really have anything to add. And Dave's commentary is really, really important. He really says it so well. And it's really sad. You see Clayton get emotional, and you also feel his righteous anger.
Are you currently suing her for defamation, or is that a whole separate thing?
I have not stepped up yet to do so, but if I don't get the result that I want from this active court case right now, yes, I will.
Okay.
Unless she comes forward. If she comes forward and says, I made the whole thing up and I'm looking to seek to get help, then I will not pursue it. If she continues to double down and I don't get, and then the court just says we're going to dismiss it all, I'm absolutely going to sue her for defamation, and I will win because I have so much evidence against her.
And I was really moved by it because it is uncommon for men to show emotions in such a way. So I'm glad that he did, that he allowed himself to be vulnerable, but also want to commend his strength and bravery, and also it really truly broke my heart. So I just want to send my love out to Clayton, because as messy as the situation is, and it can be considered kind of entertaining in some ways for you and I, it just sucks because this is his real life, and that's obviously why I have such, you watch my videos and I'm impassioned, because it does upset me, this whole situation, but it really just brings it back home. That while I'm laughing at the alleged fake cries of Laura on that public Facebook video she posted, or talking shit, that it still sucks that this is yeah, we can have fun about this, but grounding it back to the real issue here is just how pervasively this can affect someone's life. And it gets more egregious the fact that we learn there's more and more people coming forward as having been victims, and it literally puts a rock in my gut, because it's already so awful that this has happened once, but to see a pattern with the same woman and the same tactics and potentially more than what we already know makes me feel fiery, is the simplest way I can put it. It makes me feel fiery, but it also makes me deeply sad. It's so damaging. It's so awful. And the only right position is to take the one where you speak out about this. Now, I know that Dave has mentioned that there's been people talking about making a documentary about this. I think that's wonderful. I also think it's interesting that the parents are worried about their reputation, considering what we learned in Dave's video today. Later in this video, after we get the little snippets about, how Clayton has been feeling, and him also mentioning he spoke in this interview on the podcast Unplanned, that he spoke with her mother, and he knows it because different voice. He compared the voices from listening to their podcast, and then he did a reverse number search, and it all tracked. We get actual evidence of Laura Owens calling in to the police department, and the police put her on hold, and the mic is still hot, still live and recording, because it's public records. If you know this, the minute you call 911, not even the minute, I'm talking the millisecond you put it in there before it rings, it's recording you. And if you follow crimes, a lot of people have been caught by not knowing that when they're trying to put on an act, that they can't, that they have to, they kick it on when they hear someone or they hear the ring, but they have those few seconds of dead air, and that can give people away as far as if they're just putting something on for the recording that they know exists. But maybe it's hypothesized by Dave that she doesn't know that when they put you on hold, like, that recording will continue. And allegedly, it seems that Laura Owen's mother, Jan Black, who I can name because she is also a very large public figure, a well-known journalist, perhaps was in the background saying something, "Oh, he's a loser, honey, he's a loser." It made me think. Of course, I'm going to cut that in right here.
Of Jane Doe calling Scottsdale police to report, I believe this was, and again, I've got a lot of audio clips. I think we played 10 of these yesterday on the private Patreon. So if you want to listen to yesterday's Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal, you can hear all of the different clips. But this is Jane Doe calling the police. Now, what's interesting is the most interesting part of this clip is that they put her on hold. And when they put her on hold is when you hear her talk to her mom. Have a listen.
Scottsdale Police, this is Haley.
Hi, Haley. My name is
Jane Doe.
I'm calling back an officer who tried to call me a few times to take a report about harassment.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me find the call.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I normally hate dead air, but in this moment, we hear Jane Doe's mom speak. Listen closely.
Electronic communications social media post mom, it says. Harassment directed at a certain person that would be seriously alarming, disruptive, tormenting, or terrorizing the person that serves no legitimate purpose.
Now, it's my belief that while they're on hold, they don't necessarily realize they're still being recorded. We've got Jane Doe's mom in the kitchen, you know, in some ways seeming like she's teaming up with Jane Doe. Wild stuff.
But it's weird people just take his word for it, you know?
Well, you think that they do, but I bet in reality they really don't. Because he's a joke, honey. He's a joke.
So there we have Jane Doe saying, I don't want them to take his word for it. And then the mom says, he's a joke, honey. He's a joke.
Okay, so I found the call. Do you just want an officer to give you a call now? Or when there's one available?
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, and they might come from a block-restricted number, so just make sure you answer anything incoming like that.
Okay, I definitely will. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Hey, thanks, bye. And so listening to that made me think so many thoughts, and all we get is just a few words from allegedly, potentially her mother. I had so many things running through my head from just those few words that I had to hang on to. One is like, what has Laura told her mom at this point? What is her mother privy to? Because to me, it seems obvious that her parents are the source of her money, and that is just an opinion. So when she goes after all these lawyers for all these lawsuits, they know stuff's being moved. Even when with her setup with meeting Clayton, we know that she was using the amount of money that he could make from sales as something to persuade him to continue to speak to her, right? How he could have made like 1.4 million or something, I forget what it was, in sales. So we know that she's got money, honey. I'm assuming her parents are well aware of what's happening with it, what's coming, what's going. So they know that she's in all these legal suits. To me, is this a situation where the mother is fully informed, like in the sense that is she informed of Laura's story, or is she informed of the reality? And if she's informed of just the story, what all of it does she know? That, oh, she's just pregnant, like, is the belly around? I have so many questions, but also it makes me think of what she perceives the reality is, oh, my poor baby. It's a parent that only ever coddles their child and never give them tough love. And I am a big proponent of tough love when necessary, centered around the love part. Sometimes you need to kind of give someone a verbal reality smack. And I've had friends give me it before, and like I've said, it hurts like hell, but it's for the good. And so if your parents need to do that too and be critical, that's kind of a natural role of a parent, right? So is this an example of unwavering support no matter what, and the constant coddling and allowing someone to get away with things or to always be right? Which could that translate to never wanting to be rejected because you are the world's most preciousest thing? Nothing wrong can ever happen to you. And then that means that if something does happen to you, or like you experience something that is negative in any way, that makes you a victim instead of just a regular person who maybe got their feelings hurt because they got rejected. These are all the things that are just swirling through my head. But to me, it sounded like one of those moms that is like, their child can do no wrong. Their child shits rainbows and butterflies, and they will do anything to pacify them, and they believe them blindly, and sometimes to the detriment of their kid. But it was really upsetting just tearing this guy apart, supporting these frivolous calls to the police department. It's so sad and cruel. Also, just like you see the way that I think, in my opinion, this is all set up, and to see the parents rooting her on is just really painful and difficult. And the fact that we also know from this interview that apparently like Jan was actively like speaking with Clayton just makes my blood boil. And that's not a threat or anything weird, Laura. I'm just saying, like, it really does. It like puts my hairs on end. It's just like blows my mind how crafted it is. Do you know what I mean? Even down to like the phone call of Laura herself calling in, I found it so interesting because she's like, hi, yeah, so I have whoa, why do we sound like a cheerleader all of a sudden? Side note, there is this conspiracy that is running around in my comments, and I have my counter conspiracy too. I'm gonna indulge in quickly. There's a conspiracy that I am Laura Owens. I think it's fucking hilarious. So I leave the comments up. I think there's maybe been like 3 or 4. And I guess for like the total share of comments on my channel, that's like maybe 1% of all the comments I've received. So it's not a large portion, but I think it's hilarious. Because I think she's like a couple octaves higher in her like voice register than I am. And it's pretty obvious. Even the voice she does when she's calling the police department, she's like, hi, that, like, I can't speak like that. If you hear me right there, like, my voice is strained. For years of my life, I tried to speak higher, and it literally would, like, leave me hoarse at the end of the day. And so I've caved into speaking in my deep contralto voice. I also think that we, like, have totally different accents and, like, cadence to our speech patterns, but that's just me. And I also don't think that Laura is capable of speaking badly about herself, because I think she's gotten coddled and ass patted and catered to her whole life. I think she's really been a privileged girl that doesn't know, no. Simple as. I think she doesn't have like the self-awareness to do that. That's not her kind of crazy, is what I'm saying. I don't think she could indulge in that. She can't do the Regina George stuff, you know, where like she partakes in like trashing herself. I truly think that also the way she speaks is so unique. It is almost instantly recognizable if you've read enough of her writings. When she tries to pose as someone else, it's very thinly veiled. You can see right through. So my counter conspiracy theory is, I think of these like 3 or 4 comments, only one of them was a subscriber, but all of them only ever interacted with my channel once to make that comment. It made me wonder, is this Laura trying to say that I'm being her to like plant a negative seed? I don't know. I'm just that's my counter conspiracy theory to the conspiracy theory. I think it's pretty obvious that I'm not Laura, but flattered that you think that I have that kind of time on my hands and money. I really wish I did. Let me say, if I were Laura Owens, my life would be so much easier right now, even if I was in the middle of like this insane paternity scandal that was all by my own doing. To transition to the last half of this video, I want to focus on Dave Neal. I have credited Dave Neal as, you know, being someone who has inspired me to speak out because I was really frustrated and shared his sentiments of the fact that it felt almost like an injustice that he was the only one willing to voice his opinions. And I was like, let me get on here because I felt like there needed to be a woman's perspective. And I hadn't seen Liz Neptune's video at that time. But Dave is someone who I really respect. If you've seen my videos, I mention him multiple times. He's always tagged in my videos because I want to give that homage. I followed this story long before I found Dave, or I ended up like indulging and watching him. At first I wasn't really interested. I was like, oh, a comedian. But then I listened one day and I was like, oh, okay, this guy's actually like really good, and I'm totally on his side. So it is upsetting to me to see that he might still be having to go to court over this. I think it's such a shame, and it's also so frustrating because of course this is all over a supposed paternity scandal and what I believe is a fake pregnancy, while Dave's real pregnant wife, real pregnant, is gonna be alone in Nashville halfway across the country for this stupid ass harassment lawsuit when it's a matter of freedom of speech and the press and her being a public figure and just trying to silence this and partaking in the Streisand effect to the most exponential degree. And it just sucks. It sucks that he caught a stray bullet. I mean, even Clayton caught a stray bullet. But, like, if we're talking about this really only involved Clayton and Laura had to go after him like that. Like, it's so stupid. It's so pointless. I hope for everything in my heart that he comes out of the other side of this victorious, that he doesn't have, like, this order of protection or whatever placed against him, that he wins this case, that he is innocent of harassment. It really is so frustrating, and again, like, it makes me feel fiery inside my chest. It's upsetting. It's deeply upsetting to me that you're wasting people's times and resources over this. Their finite time, and especially in such a precious moment of someone's life. Also a very fragile time, a very medically fragile time in someone's life. I think his wife is in maybe her 3rd trimester now. Let him be home with her. Oh my God. I'm like actually getting like teared up. Oh my God. Let me stop. and the fact that it's for something that's just unnecessary. Now, what if it was like if Dave had like a big ass gig? Like that's totally different, right? But this is just so stupid. It's spending money that could be spent on their new house or creating a nursery or going to the college fund, and it's not. And it just makes this all the more evil to me that she keeps going. She keeps going. I just wanted to end this on sending Dave the best of luck, kind of sympathizing with him that this shouldn't even be fucking happening. I hope you all send him some love his way, and hopefully this is the end of his need for a lawyer. But we're prepared to, support him if this continues on. It will be so important how this shakes out. Dave winning is a victory for free speech and the sacred importance of speaking truth to power in every essence of that, right? And in this sense, it feels speaking truth to power is speaking truth to a powerful family that wants to keep this information smothered. Be sure to send, the OG a bunch of love and support, good vibes, and I'll talk to you later.